I begin the video, I just want to take a quick moment to say I've always tried to be incredibly careful when making these videos. These topics can be incredibly difficult to discuss, and it's really easy to upset people without even meaning to do so. I can't tell you how many videos I've put on private or just never published because I questioned some aspect of that video, which is why I've opened this channel to memberships where members would have access to all of those videos along with early access and sneak peeks to my upcoming videos. I might even throw in a members only live stream from time to time. But if memberships aren't for you and you really want to support this channel, you could always do so by leaving a tip in the tip jar, by clicking on the thanks option, or honestly just hitting the like button because it really does go a long way to help. I appreciate each and every one of you. So with that being said, grab a cup of coffee and let's get into the video, shall we? On February 26th, only days after her birthday, Madeline Soto, a 13-year-old girl from Kissimmee, Florida, vanished after having last been seen with her mother's boyfriend, Stefan Sterns. Stefan told investigators that he had dropped Madeline off a half a mile away from her middle school because, as Sterns claimed, Madeline was embarrassed of his car. Madeline's mother, Jen, eventually turned to media for help locating her daughter, where she, along with her boyfriend, eventually gave interviews to journalists.
Okay. So the first question is if I can have your first and your last name and spell them both out for me.
Okay. Jennifer Soto, JennifferSoto.
Mother.
Mother.
Jennifer, tell me how you feeling right now.
I feel like I can't breathe. All I keep thinking about is, where is she? Is she safe? Is she okay? But we're all a wreck. My entire family is a mess. We're just so worried.
When did you first realize, or when did you file a missing report?
We filed a missing report. We called the police at like 4:45 yesterday, 4:45 p.m. But she actually went missing early that morning, around between 8:45 and 9 o'clock in the morning. She went missing. We had dropped her off close to the school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. We dropped her off at school, close to school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to share.
You can share whatever you feel comfortable sharing. I know you had conversations with detectives. Not sure what that conversation is, but whichever you feel comfortable sharing, that will put the awareness out there.
Yeah, she was spotted walking by the church, by the middle school, on the cameras. They saw her hang out in the parking lot for a little bit and then get up and leave. They didn't see a vehicle or anything else. They just saw her walk away around 9 a.m. heading towards the school, but she never made it. Yeah.
What has the school said? Have you given in contact with the school?
Yes, that they're doing everything they can. They've given me all their resources. The principals called me. They've looked at their cameras. I don't think they've caught anything on the cameras that's too far away from the sidewalk. Everything is too grainy, so they can't see specific faces. But they've looked. I'm just waiting to hear anything else from them.
Is this normal behavior?
Not at all.
To just not show up or call or text or anything?
Not at all, no. She, from time to time, she will leave her cell phone at home accidentally, and that's actually what happened yesterday. She left her phone at home. She went to school. But that happens from time to time. She's got ADHD, her memory. She's very forgetful. So yeah, there's no way to track her right now because the detectives now have her phone. But this isn't normal behavior now.
What was the last thing, I guess, the conversation that you two had, you and your daughter?
We spoke about her birthday party. She had a birthday party on Sunday. She had a great time. I couldn't make it because I was working. but she had an amazing time. She was so happy with all her gifts. I told her good night, and yeah, that was it. I wasn't the one who took her to school in the morning. That was my partner.
Alright, so Stefan, you seem very emotional right now. Explain to us.
I dropped her off. Everything looked fine when I drove away. It's the last time we saw her.
What were the conversations that y'all had in the car when you dropped her off?
Not much. She was asleep for most of the way. Told her have a good day at school when she got out. I love her. She said thanks, love you too. That was it.
And so where do you think she could possibly be? I mean, this isn't, as I was told, this isn't normal behavior.
This is not normal behavior. She's not the type that would just run off. We don't know where she can be. We're scared. We just want her home.
Are you, in a sense, blaming yourself?
It's hard not to.
Why?
I dropped her off early. I could have waited longer. She looked okay. She was walking towards the school when I saw her. It was like any other day, so I went on with my day. It's hard not to blame myself.
What has the conversation been with Jen since?
She's been a lot stronger than me. She's been holding it together really well, but it just keeps coming in waves. Just the reality keeps hitting. We don't know where she is. We don't know if she's safe. We're just scared. We just want her home.
Have you, like, literally put boots on the ground, went out?
Yeah, I even went out with the cops where I had dropped her off, and we looked all up and down the road, all along the communities, and there was nothing helpful. None of the cameras were pointing the street. Nothing, which in 2024 was surprising. The church across the street had some cameras, and they mentioned seeing her waiting around in the parking lot for a while before moving on, and that was it. But it was grainy. It was grainy footage, and not much else.
Does it seem like she walked west, east?
They said in the direction of the school. I'm not sure what that is.
What was the language? Not language verbally, language, body language. When you dropped her off, did she seem happy? Was she like, I'm going to meet my friends?
Happy. She had a happy weekend. She just turned 13. She had her 13th birthday party. She was happy that we were all together here, and she's just very happy. She was a happy kid. She's very sweet. She's a very sweet girl. She brings a lot of joy to us, and we just not knowing.
So the unknown is killing you.
Yeah, it's like our whole world is upside down. And not feeling her presence here is... Sorry. It's hard.
Oh no, you're fine. You don't need to apologize. What do you want our viewers to know when they see this?
She's a sweetheart. She's a very sweet, kind girl. Just please be nice to her. Bring her home if you find her. Tell her that we love her. Wherever she is, I hope she's okay.
I mean, if someone were to come in contact with her and you gave me her diagnoses, would it be easy to approach her without any like agitation or anything?
Yeah. She's a good kid. She's a good kid.
If you can sum up in one complete sentence, waking up, getting ready to drop her off at school, dropping her off at school, to now speaking to me after talking to the police about her being missing for over 24 hours right now. In one complete sentence, what would that be?
A living nightmare. It's a living nightmare. Day started off like any other. And I just want to wake up and just get hit with waves of the reality. Just it's setting in. As soon as it got dark last night, we started falling apart. 'Cause We knew it wasn't going to come to an end. And now we're going on 24 hours and still nothing. Just conflicting reports here and there. People say they see this or that. None of it's conclusive and none of it's helpful. We just want our baby girl back.
So after Stefan's rather bizarre interview, it didn't come as a shock to basically anyone that law enforcement turned their focus on to Sterns, and the moment that they did, things went downhill for him pretty quickly, because it was later revealed that Madeline never actually was dropped off near her school that morning, and that Sterns had actually thrown some of Madeline's things, including her laptop, into a nearby dumpster the morning that she had gone missing. Yeah, so for obvious reasons, police brought Sterns in for questioning and asked to see his phone, when he told police that he had accidentally factory reset his phone conveniently on the exact same day Madeline had gone missing, which seems a bit suspicious. Unbeknownst to Sterns, police were actually able to recover all the deleted files that Sterns had tried to hide by resetting his phone, which turned out to be graphic, sexually abusive CSAM-type material, presumably taken of Madeline, which sadly goes a long way to explain why Madeline had apparently told people that her birthday wish was that she wanted to live alone in the woods.
Newly released court documents revealing more details in the case surrounding 13-year-old Madeline Soto. Investigators say her mother's boyfriend, Stefan Sterns, is accused of sexually abusing the teen for years. They say Sterns tried to reset his cell phone the day Madeline was reported missing, but detectives were still able to recover what they say are sexual pictures and videos dating back to 2022, when Madeline was just 11 years old. The document reads, "Upon reviewing the contents of Stefan's phone, several images and videos were located which depicted the missing juvenile."
Needless to say, police named Sterns as the prime suspect in Madeline's disappearance, and he was arrested on separate charges of sexual battery and possession of CSAM, at which point law enforcement told the public that it was their belief that Madeline was actually killed in the early morning hours of the 26th, long before Stephen claimed that he took her to school.
Last week, Orange County investigators revealed they had evidence Madeline was in Sterns' car and already dead.
Basically, everyone online began speculating why law enforcement believed that she had been killed at such an early and specific time, and it wouldn't take long for the public to start getting answers, because 4 days after Madeline's disappearance, her body was found in a wooded area not far from their home. Then, police released that Sterns had actually driven around with Madeline's propped-up dead body in his car, in an attempt to make it look like she was alive and being driven to school that day, which is frankly horrifying. And it only gets worse, because reports started coming out that Madeline had apparently been assaulted by Sterns for years. Then, the same news stations that were making those reports began to report that Madeline's mother had actually lied to investigators, and had given multiple different stories to the news as well as police.
First breaking in the death of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. Why prosecutors are now calling for an investigation into this local sheriff, and how the story Madeline's mother provided law enforcement doesn't line up with what investigators know. We spoke one-on-one with Jennifer Soto last Tuesday. Good afternoon. I'm Darlene Jones.
And I'm Greg Wormuth. At that point, her daughter Madeline had been missing for 1 day. She told us that Stefan Sterns, her boyfriend and now the prime suspect in Madeline's death, had taken the teenager to school. She said the last conversation she had with the 13-year-old was the night before. But this report we got a hold of today shows she told deputies she saw her daughter the morning of her disappearance. Channel 9 investigative reporter Shannon Butler has been digging into the details of this case. She joins us live in studio. And Shannon, that's not the only thing you noticed in this new report.
Greg, no one has been charged in Madeline Soto's death, but we do know investigators are looking into who knew what and when. And some of that means looking at those initial interviews of the couple and the ones later on. Sources tell me the statements about the timeline are not consistent. Jennifer Soto told us last week that the last conversation she had with her daughter was about her 13th birthday party the night before Maddie disappeared.
I told her goodnight and Yeah, that was it.
But according to documents, Sunday night was not the last time Soto saw Maddie. New documents show that Maddie's mom told deputies on February 26th that she saw her daughter getting dressed for school at 8 o'clock that morning, and that her boyfriend then took the teen to school. But since that initial report was taken, we learned from the Orange County Sheriff that Maddie was likely dead earlier than that.
Our detectives have determined that Madeline was never dropped off. Instead, we believe she was already dead at the time, and that Stefan Sterns moved her body in the early morning hours on that day.
Channel 9 has been going through statements from Stefan Sterns and Soto trying to piece together what happened in the last few hours of the little girl's life, starting with our interview of the couple. Her mom told us last week.
We dropped her off at school, close to school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way.
But in that same interview, then said,
I wasn't the one who took her to school in the morning. That was my partner. But yeah.
Detectives believe Maddie was likely dead early Monday morning because a video timeline shows Maddie's belongings being dumped in a dumpster at 7:35 by Sterns. At 8:19, Sheriff Mina said video shows Maddie in Sterns' vehicle believed to be deceased. Since then, the case has moved to Kissimmee Police, and sources tell us that Soto has been interviewed multiple times by detectives at 2 agencies, and that they are looking closely at all the statements she's made. But officially, Kissimmee Police won't comment. So this initial report also shows that Sterns told investigators that after Maddie got out of his car, she stopped to look in that book bag before he drove away. That same book bag was found actually in the dumpster. After her death, he then said he went home for about an hour after going to the vape store and running errands. He was home that day until 2:30. Detectives say a tip showed him changing a flat tire not far from where the little girl's body was found that afternoon.
I want to be incredibly careful here because Jen Soto hasn't been charged with a crime, and there could easily be an innocent explanation for her misspeaking during her interviews. Her daughter was missing, she had a camera shoved in her face. It's easy to misspeak in situations like that. However, telling investigators that she saw her daughter getting dressed on the morning that she went missing, during a time investigators claimed the daughter was actually already dead, I mean, that does not look good. How did Sterns manage to throw Madeline's things into the dumpster and move her dead body around without anyone noticing? Again, I want to be cautious. This woman's daughter was murdered, and people online are a millimeter from crucifying her. But I think it's best right now to wait and see what law enforcement say and do going forward, because I have no doubt whatsoever Sterns is going to be charged with Madeline's murder, and that eventually law enforcement will clarify the questions surrounding Madeline's mother. I just hope that happens sooner rather than later, because this little girl was tortured for years, then she was murdered and thrown away in the woods like garbage. She deserves justice, and anyone who is involved in what happened to her needs to pay the ultimate price for what they did. So, if you have any information that you think might help the Madeline Soto case, you can call 1-800-423-8477. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching.